Hello, ladies and gentlemen who might have snuck on here. I am Brittnee Smith, and I want to welcome you back to the Brittnee Smith podcast. And it is hashtag a strong friend summer. So every episode this summer, we have a different, strong, powerful woman or man who is going to help us continue to be strong. But I want to remind us that we are redefining what it means to be the strong friend. I posted on social media and I said, "Hey, y'all, where all my strong friends at?" And everybody was like, "No, don't call me that. I don't want to be the strong friend. No, no, no." And I was like, "Oh, I didn't realize that there was all a negative side that can be seen for the strong friend." And so they're like, the strong friend always gives and never gets back. The strong friend is always wearing themselves out. The strong friend doesn't practice self care. The strong friend is always tired. I was like, oh, okay, I see. So we need to redefine what it means to be the strong friend. I think of the book of Joshua, right? And where God tells Joshua to be strong and courageous. I want us to be strong in that way, strong in God and courageous to be friends with other women. Because you've heard it. I don't have female friends. I don't have, we don't click or women, don't get along with me. Uh-uh. Scratch all of that. And it's funny because me and Nakeara are gonna get into it. We're gonna talk about some of that stuff, okay? But Nakeara is one of my besties. She's my sister friend. We go back a little bit. I do kind of want to get into how our relationship even started. It kind of just happened. But even more so, like I said, I'm bringing women on the show that represent strength. And what I mean by that is she has a story and she has this beautiful face. Her lineup is perfectly, shaping her forehead and
The
all of
pixie
that
is
is
pixie.
right. Yeah, the pixie is pixie, but homegirl has a story. And in order for her to have been the strong friend now in this season, she had to get her strength from somewhere. So I want her to be able to talk about what it means to be resilient. I want her to talk about some of the challenges that she's overcome. And I forgot to mention that she is the CEO and founder of NLUX Beauty Experience, not Grand Lux, but NLUX Beauty Experience. She is a beauty professional, has been in the beauty industry 20 plus years, both behind the chair and in the front of the chair. She's an author. She done did some things. That's my friend. So, Nakeara, thank you for joining me today.
Thank you for having me. I'm so
Yeah,
excited and
yeah.
honored. Thank you.
Oh, it's actually been a long time coming. I don't know why you haven't been on there sooner than this, but we'll talk about that later. Okay. So, Nakira, tell us a little bit about yourself. I mean, I kind of like gave them an overview, but you can start with who you are as a professional, and then from there, we'll get into some of the other things we talked about.
Okay, so as a professional, uh, like Ms. Brittany said, I am a licensed hairstylist of 20 plus years. I have a salon. I have my own beauty products, and a little bit starting my cosmetic line. And I love all things beauty, from teaching beauty to, from doing hair, makeup, educating, whether it's my clients or other women on just how they can show up as their best selves image wise. And so that's what I love doing. I love to help women just be their most powerful selves in their everyday life and how they show up in their brands, their businesses. And so that's me professional wise. Like she said, I'm also an author of Reclaim Your Power, Reclaim Your Beauty, um, tips to empower you from the inside out. And yeah, that's me in a nutshell,
Yeah,
professional wise.
yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. And so Nakira is also a wife. She's also
Yes.
a
And mom.
mama. She's also a daughter. She's also a bestie, right? So she's wearing all these different relational hats. So Nakira, before we get into it, what comes to mind for you when you hear the term strong friend?
Yeah, it's a lot. It can be dual sided, I think, for strong friend. now strong friend means being vulnerable. Strong friend means being um, available for your friends. You know, strong friend means being just a rock or a sturdy place for your friends to land. And also strong friend means being wise, because I had to learn that everyone doesn't get that type of access when being a strong friend. And I think that when people, and I know we're going to get into it, when you get into the negative side that's attached to that, that's when you overextend yourself to the wrong people. Because when you extend yourself in that way and open up yourself that way to the right people, it's reciprocal.
Mm-hmm.
It's reciprocal. It's not one sided. It's not, you're not being abused. You're not being taken advantage of and drained, but you have that outlet, or you're having that outlet to pour out, and you're also being that outlet to pour into
Right.
someone else. So,
Right, right. So, with that as the backdrop of your understanding of what it means to be the strong friend, I want to talk about the thought, and I'll just throw this out there and you can respond,
mhm,
that most of the people that we would call the strong friend became the strong friend out of necessity,
yeah.
right? They became the strong friend out of survival.
Mhm.
So I feel like that's a part of your story.
Mhm.
You had to be strong.
Right.
So kind of give us, you don't have to give us your whole story. Y'all got to get the book. Y'all got to get her book. And she's going to write another book. I'm just going to throw it out there.
Right.
Um, but talk a little bit about your story as it relates to being forced to be the strong friend because you had no other option.
Yeah, so I had to be the strong friend because I've always had to be the strong daughter. I've always had to be the strong sister. I was raised in a single parent home, and, growing up as, you know, to a daughter to, just me and my brother, you assume the responsibilities of, looking out for yourself. Although my mom did all the things, but she also had to work, so I had to just grow up a little bit faster to make sure things were, done, or just learning how to take care of myself. Um, and being a strong sister, I grew up with a sibling who had health challenges. And so I had to step up, although I was the younger sibling, many times I had to step up and take care of a sick sibling, or if there was an emergency and I had to, there was no time to essentially, I guess, be the kid and panic. You got to straighten up, be strong for that person who's going through. So just from my childhood, I had to be strong in that way in my family, but it caused me to be a strong person very young, even for friends, because I had to just mature a little bit faster. So even going through different challenges with, friends and relationships, several, just disappointments, you just had to learn to be strong. I lost my father at 12. And so that too caused me to just grow up a little bit faster and just had to deal with some things.
Right.
Hmm.
So, one, thank you for sharing. But two, what would you say were some of or maybe a moment that you kind of had to make a decision that I'm going to be strong for me now? Like what was that process like? Because I mean, I would imagine that it's a process. You went from having to
Yeah.
be strong for your brother, having to be strong for your mom, having to be strong for the people around, having to be strong for your son, even, right? What does that look like in the transition of realizing, wait a minute, I need to set some boundaries. I need to do some things different.
Yeah. Going through life. So even after, now I'm on my own. I'm in, relationships, friendships, and going through life, from marriage to having, a child, and just the scares with coming, from pregnancy losses and things like that. I was just so going through all the things, right? And in all of that, being strong, surviving, I didn't know I was not processing these different hurts, these different traumas, these different wounds that was happening. It wasn't processing because all I knew was just, for lack of a better word, like suck it up and go. You don't have time to sit here and cry. You gotta go. You gotta keep moving. And I got to a place where I just couldn't go no more. I reached my ceiling. And I say that was probably 2019. So all this stuff, from now going through life, now becoming a wife, now becoming a mom, which brings its own challenges, but also a leader in my church and, a minister in training. Now I'm upholding all these other hats. And I just got to a point where I could not go. I couldn't go no more. I was tapped out emotionally. I was tapped out spiritually, physically. I was just done. And it took me to get to that place to find a new power and find power through God.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So what has the challenge that you faced coming up and being forced to be the strong friend, what has that done or what did that do when it comes to, or how did that affect rather your ability to connect with friends and develop friendships?
Well, it definitely made me very careful in who I allowed in my space. Very careful, so I had to guard that because up until a certain point, people who I considered friends weren't friends. They weren't good friends. When I got to a different place, or I'd say when I began to grow and just wasn't that person where I always had some drama going on or something like that, and began to find my identity in Christ, I found that those friends weren't there anymore, weren't available anymore, which brought its own set of disappointments. But it created trust issues. And so when the right people come along, you're like, hold up,
So
let me watch you
let's
for a
pause
minute.
right there, okay, y'all, because I'm about to speak my piece. We were literally just talking about this not too long ago. And you guys see, like, I'm like, "What?" And Nakeara's like, no, So when we met, like, that's what was there, right? And so I'm like, okay, she don't like me. She think I'm dumb. Like, she think, like, she's scary, right? She's intimidating because she don't smile. I'm scared, right? Like, that's what, because, and so let me give you some dynamic, right? So Nakeara's 4 years older than me. And even though that's not a big gap now where we are, right? When we met, I was a younger minded, whatever, 20 something. And y'all just heard she had to grow up quick, right? So she might have only been 26, 27, but really was operating at like 40. You know what I'm saying? Because of how like she had to live, right? So
Right.
here I come all like teeny bopper, like, and she's like, well, this is how in my head how she's looking at me. Now she wasn't, but that's the dynamic, right? And so I still don't remember how we ended up roommates, but we ended up roommates. Like I don't even remember that connection and how it happened. But we ended up roommates. And Nakeara, I want you to talk about and be honest, be honest. I want you to talk about some of your thoughts, right, about me moving in, getting used to me, contending with should I let her in? Like, talk about.
Mm-hmm. So just probably like a little snippet of a backdrop before I even connected with you in that way. So prior to that, like I said, I'm going through life, right? And I was um prior to let me say, I had just I've been in my own place, right? And I had to leave, I had to move. And I was trying to get back. I was in Philly, so I was trying to get back over to Jersey. And we, of course, were in church together. And I think I probably just overheard the conversation. But prior to me getting my own place, I was staying with a friend of the family, and they had their own stuff going on, and they kicked me out. Just, you know, really no explanation, just kind of like get out. So here I come with that. I got that baggage, right?
Right.
Like I said, I got my own place. Then I go into the church, and then I'm looking for to move back to Jersey. Overheard you, and I'm like, okay. Like I've been watching you, so I knew, like, okay, she's cool. Brittnee's always been friendly, always welcoming, always smiling, and things like that. So I didn't have my reservations that way. I think, and then getting into the house, like she said, just not that we were so far apart number wise, but just so far apart life experience wise. So yeah, she's, singing every day, singing. And I'm like, what in the world? Like, we just woke up. I'm like far from a morning person. But just like, let me warm up a little bit. But Brittnee's like, you wake up to her singing and things, music, and she's a music person. And I'm like, okay. So, and I think like during that time too, even in your journey, you were finding who you were, you know? And so I think that even, and not like both myself or anything, but I think that me coming in and how I came in, probably glammed up or whatever, you're like, oh, who is this? So you're like attracted to what I look like on the outside. And then for me, at that time, people trying to draw to me was like, hold up. Like, what do you want? Because unfortunately, that's been my experience that somebody's trying to get something from me. And so here you come, just as happy, go lucky, naive, even, hey, and I'm
Like, who does young
you
John?
know, what is she doing? Like, what she wants? She too happy for me. Like, what is going on? But that was the thing. But at the same time, it was the trauma or the trauma that I had to work through. But then on the other side, it was like I knew she was safe.
Yeah.
If you get it.
Yeah.
So that was enough for me to come there and stay. But my reservations were like, hold up, let me watch this for a
Absolutely. And I'm cracking up because everybody talks about the singing thing. I just be wanting to sing with Jesus in the morning time. But I think that, there are no mistakes in God.
minute. No.
And so to your point, I brought the everything's gonna be all right outlook, and you brought maturity. You
Mm-hmm.
did. You brought maturity, how to keep a house, how to like cook chicken, like all those kinds of things. And I watched and I'm like, oh, because in my head you were a big sis. Like you were
Right.
like, you were experienced with life. And I was like, eh, and so I think that it's always funny to tell the story out loud. Because
Mm-hmm.
when you think of who we are today, it's like, I don't know, like God did his good work and
Yeah.
we did this for a minute and then we kind of like found each other. And I think with any solid relationship, there are seasons where I'm the leaner and then there are
Right.
seasons where you're the leaner. There are days
Yeah.
where I'm leaning and days you're leaning and some days we both leaning, and it's like, ciao. But it's a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
And I don't take it for granted that I have been a part of your journey in that way. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? And vice versa. So we have our like mushy sister moments where it's like, guys, I really do. I'm just so grateful for you because, and it's important to voice that because
Yeah.
I don't even think we hear enough how appreciated we are. Uh,
Right.
let alone feel safe enough to voice to another woman that we appreciate their friendship. Because in 2024, it's just like it's a foreign thing. Like we
It
don't
is.
support each other like we should. There's still a level of competition and comparison that tries to sneak in from time to time. And what I appreciate about our friendship, our sister circle, is that we can call it out now.
Yeah.
Before we would kind of like tiptoe around it and hope that it passes on its own, and like, throw a blanket over the elephant and hope that
Right.
nobody notices. But it's working through those things that strengthen our relationships.
Yeah.
Um, so now, like I said, we're besties, we're in each other's lives, we talk almost every day. And I'm grateful. I'm grateful.
Yeah.
So when we talk about, I want to kind of circle back around to you're being resilient.
Hmm.
Um, that is a theme in your life.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the resilience in business, because I think it's important too to highlight the fact that your strong friends also matter as an entrepreneur,
Yeah.
and having people that get it, having people that support, having people that are willing to barter services, right? Like we're bringing that back,
Right.
prices and inflation, right?
Right.
So let's talk about, and you don't have to, for the sake of time, like you've been in your own salon a couple times now, right?
Hmm.
Um, so just share with the audience a little bit, some of the key takeaways that you've learned from, winning and then feeling like you're feeling it and going back, getting back into it. I want to get to that getting back into it piece. So just give a couple of like encouraging tidbits around getting back in there after you've either feel like you failed or you've been hurt.
Hmm.
Let's talk about that.
One thing I had to learn was just knowing what you've been called to do, because, the first the first go around of, having my own salon and going through a very trying time, I opened prior to COVID, so here I go treading uncharted waters, not knowing what the heck is happening, what's going on. Um, and getting through that, you definitely have to know what you've been called to do. Because even during COVID, I think I learned just like my biggest lessons through that, because when you can't physically be in front of someone, you really have to tap into your creative space. And I think that when you know what you've been called to do, you're able to expound on, okay, I can't be behind the chair, but guess what? I'm gonna get on live and I'm gonna show you how to take care of your own hair at home. Here's the
Mhm,
products to do that. Here's what you need to keep your face done up and your hair done up while you're doing Zooms, because everybody's working from home now.
mhm, mhm.
So just learning that right there is such a valuable lesson that goes across the board for me in business and in life. Is just know what you've been called to do. And I think when you stand firm on that, there are so many doors and so many avenues open to you that nothing could
Yeah,
stop you.
that's
Yeah.
so good. That's so good. The strong friend learns to pivot,
Yeah.
because when there is a will, there's a way.
Yeah.
And that's facts. I love that. And it's a perfect example of how we all had to adjust to something in the pandemic.
Right.
And I love the fact that you are honest about learning through all of it. You know what I'm saying? Because being
Hmm.
resilient is hard, but
Yeah.
you learn and you bounce back better because of what you
Yeah.
learned. And sometimes you're only going to learn it by going through whatever it
Right.
was.
Right.
And so, ladies, the takeaway there was find a way,
I
because there's
know.
a way. There's always another way. There's always another
Always.
way. When you feel like your back is against the wall and there's no way out, as long as you're breathing, there's always another way. And if you can't find the another way, um, sometimes it's not meant to be, and you got to let it go.
Yeah.
And in that case, letting it go is the way.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So I think resilience is identifying the fact that there's a challenge in front of me and I have the power to make a choice,
Yeah.
whatever your choice is. Resilience is I'm not going to stop. I'm going to make a choice and go with whatever that choice is.
Right.
So you made the choice to pivot to online and catering to the community of people that are now showing up online. And then even when you decided to close that place, you made a
Right.
choice
Right.
for your family, for whatever it is. I had to make a choice, and you worked that choice. Then you
Yeah.
went, got a job, right, at that time, and you started working. And then when that was done, you made a choice and you worked out that choice. Like, yo, you the MVP, yo.
You
Like
gotta make it happen.
you are the poster child for I'm gonna make it happen. Period. And that's a characteristic of the strong friend that we
Yeah.
want to reestablish. The strong friend makes it happen, not just for everybody else, but the strong friend makes it happen for herself.
Yeah.
And she links arms with other women who are also willing to make it happen for her.
Yeah.
You know? And I think that's important. Um, and so what do you say to, I think I kind of asked this question to everybody. What encouragement do you have for the woman who feels like she doesn't have a strong friend to reciprocate her strength or to lean on or to support? Where do you start or where do you go if you feel like you don't have?
Go to God. That's the only thing I know because that's where I had to go. I felt like when you're in that place, I found myself in a place where I felt like everything and everyone was stripped away and I couldn't go to no one but him. That's when he replaced and restored rather because these new relationships have never been before. So he restored these, these new relationships. And I just had to keep trusting him and they began to draw to me and I drew to them. Um, just gotta wait on God, quiet yourself and he'll bring those people in front of you. And I would even venture to say, because when you're also in that place, there's probably some trauma, there's probably some hurt and things there. And so heal while you're in that place because your lack of healing can push people away as well,
Mm-hmm.
and so I'm grateful for my strong friends because I just believe that in the divine covenant of our relationship that you were able to the people who are called to you are going to be graced to love you. They're going to be graced to you know, love you through your mess, love you to your healed place, So go to
I love
God. That's all I got.
that. No,
He's
that's
the
real.
one. He's going to do it.
Yeah, that's real. And there may be a person or two that might be listening and maybe they don't believe. Maybe they're not
Hmm.
Christians. Um, but that's still the answer. Go to God.
Right.
Because you're
Love for
right.
them.
The word says, seek first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things will be added unto you. And
Hmm.
so when you do shut in with him, like you said, when you don't have nothing else, you always have him.
Right.
And
Right.
I love your answer. Your answer was perfect because I do agree that sometimes the right people are right in front of us, but because we're looking through the lens of hurt, the lens of betrayal, the
Right.
lens of whatever our trauma is, we can't see those people in that way, and
Yeah.
we can't receive the love from
Yeah.
them. So let's land the plane here. Um, any final words to the woman that is listening that's like you, that has the same story as you know,
Hmm.
challenged with having to be the strong friend or the strong person coming up and then going on a journey of healing to be restored and be fulfilled.
Right.
Uh, what do you have to say to her in this moment?
Don't stop believing. Like, never stop having hope. Don't stop believing. Right. But never stop having hope because when you don't have hope, then you're never going to see those people. But if you continue to go on, continue to just focus on you and your healing. And as you focus on you and your healing, whether that's through, if you believe in God, seeking a deeper relationship with him. If not, listen, go to therapy too, get that healing,
Yeah.
and after a while, you're going to begin to see those who've been consistent in life. And I think that, that's the thing too. Look for those who are consistent. Look
Yeah.
for those who are just steady. And you'll begin to realize that, okay, I do have strong friends around me. I do have people who really care. I do have people who are, a constant, those confidants in your life. Those are the people who are consistent. So if nothing else, be aware and vigilant of those who are just consistent
Yeah.
and good character in your life.
Yeah, that's so good. Um, and the other thing that I kind of hear in an undertone in that is that in order to lean into those relationships, you have to trust.
Yeah,
You have to try. You just have to try it. Like
you
you
have
can't
to.
you can't know love without risk.
No,
You can't. And it's just not possible to fully be in full relationship with somebody
no.
and not have to put yourself out there. And so what we're saying is try again,
Yeah.
trust again, say yes again. Y'all hear all that noise in the background. Y'all know I'm a mama, okay? I got my little baby girl here and she's trying the best that she can to be quiet, okay? But if you're a strong friend on this show, you got kids too, most of y'all. And so you understand, okay? Commercial break. I'm over here like,
Right, right. Listen, it's okay.
oh, Jesus,
It is
help.
okay.
Y'all understand. Anywho, yes, the strong friend understands.
The strong friend
Um,
understand.
yes.
But you
So,
gotta trust. And I'm sorry, I had to appreciate. I just say like you said, look again, because I had to come back, to this relationship, to our relationship, and you know, and look again. Trust. Like, all right, I'm gonna trust her this time. I'm gonna let her in this time. And
yeah,
I appreciate that because we can have those conversations. And I'm grateful for just the growth and able to get that place to even vocalize that. It's like, hell, I don't dislike you. I just don't trust you right now.
yo,
you
that's
know,
real.
and that
That's
was real
real.
for me. And it's
Yeah.
like, but I see she was like this all the time, and I trusted that.
And you know what, too? I think for those of us who trust is not our issue, but maybe
Right.
it's something else, being willing to be patient with those that you see that that's an issue or that's a challenge.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Because like in my la la self, I could tell and sense that there was a wall there.
Mm-hmm.
And like you said, because you know who you are now, I know who I am. And I am gifted in getting around walls and people. And but a part of that art is being patient and moving
Yeah.
at their pace.
Mm-hmm.
I think that all women can heal,
Yeah.
and all women deserve strong friendship.
Yeah.
They may not lean into it, they may not ask for it, but I believe every woman deserves strong friendship. And that
Yeah.
requires, it's like dating. Honestly, it's like dating.
Yeah.
And we have to be um, equally pursuing
Yeah.
and allowing ourselves to be pursued and really leaning into that process of us growing together and figuring things out.
Yeah.
Um, and even not wondering, but assessing whether or not this friendship is worth pursuing on that level. Like it's okay for you to just be cool with somebody
Right.
versus being a sister friend. Everybody not your sister friend
Right. No.
because they're just not. But you still have to do the work to find out what's what. Like,
Fortunately and unfortunately,
yeah,
you got to take the risk.
yeah. Strong friendships don't just happen.
Mm-mm.
Strong any
No.
relationships don't just happen.
No.
So this is good. This is good. This is good. So Nakeara, tell the people how they can find you, how they can connect with you, and all those things.
So you can find me on Instagram at Nakeara Knows Beauty. You can find me on Facebook at Nakeara Bonds or my business page, NLUX Beauty Experience, and that is also on Facebook.
Yay! I'm so proud of you. You did
Yay!
it. So listen, ladies, I'm so glad you guys decided to join us today. Like I said, it's a Strong Friends summer, so stay tuned for new episodes every week around the different strong friends in my life. But also we have some events coming up. We're having a Strong Friends celebration brunch. It's gonna be lit. I would love to have a Strong Friends summer cookout. But,
Ooh.
so I don't know what that looks like just yet, but I would love to do that. And then we also are going to be kicking off the After Hours Business Lounge. So excited about that because, listen, we all have businesses, and because we are the strong friend of so many, we often don't take the time to work on our own business.
Hmm.
So, the After Hours Business Lounge is a co working event where we're going to shut in for a couple hours. There's going to be mocktails, little snacks, Wi-Fi, vibes for you to actually get stuff done and accountability because I'm gonna ask you what you're working on and make sure you got it done. So it's gonna be cool. It's gonna be cool. I'm excited about it. So just stay tuned. Stay tuned. Hashtag Strong Friend Summer, and we will see you next week on another episode of the Brittnee Smith podcast. Bye.